We've started.
Mhm.
All right. Good evening and welcome to Reconnecting Heroes. I'm Heather Harper. I'm joined by my colleague tonight, Sarah Collins Simmons. We're with Future Generations University. And tonight's program is called Finding Sweet Solace in Agriculture. We're going to talk with three producers tonight, three producers who are veterans. And they're going to discuss their experience with how their enterprises, their agriculture enterprises, has helped with their physical and mental health. Um, just a little bit about Reconnecting. Reconnecting Heroes is a program that was started in conjunction with our partners, Mountain Cajun Getaway and U Mountain Center, with funding and support provided from the West Virginia Department of Agriculture's Veterans and Heroes to Agriculture program. Um, and one of the goals of Reconnecting Heroes is to not only connect farmers who are veterans with one another to help so they can share resources and share education, but also to connect them with veterans who may want to get into farming or have just started, and to be a mentor to those folks. So with that, our guests tonight, our panelists tonight are Chris Grimes of Mountain Cajun Getaway, Eric Grandin of Sugar Bottom Farms, and Chris Marsh of Country Roads Maple. And we'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and start with Chris Grimes of Mountain Cajun Getaway. And Chris, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your operation.
Sure thing. Thank you, Heather. Well, first of all, let me thank Future Generations for this opportunity. But I am Chris Grimes, owner and operator of Mountain Cajun Getaway. It is a retreat home for combat veterans and their families. Our mission is allowing the combat veteran to reconnect with their most important asset, and that's family. Our operation has been in effect, our operational now for 3 years, and have been very successful. Kind of started out faster than we wanted it to, but it is progressing quite well. Before I kind of start about what we're doing and how we do it here in Pendleton County, West Virginia, I will kind of address an elephant that's in the room. You know, a lot of veterans, we have disabilities that are not visible by the human eye. So in the civilian world, people don't always recognize that we have some issues. And so we, as veterans, have to understand that as well, because sometimes people don't recognize, or they think that you're disabled. There should be a visible connection there, but there's not. So we can't get angry all the time, and sometimes we like to. But with that being said, as veterans, we also have to understand that we have a responsibility to take care of ourselves and our families and our loved ones. And a lot of times we push that under the rug. It's always get the mission done and worry about yourself later. And once you retire and you go through that transition, we really need to stop and understand that we have some major issues that are bothering us, and we need to deal with them. And sometimes dealing with them is not easy. But as veterans, brothers and sisters, we have the opportunity to lean on one another, help each other out. And this program that we're talking about right now is one of those, almost a mentorship as well, but it's helping veterans transition into a new lifestyle if they're thinking about doing so. So with that said, I'll go into what I'm doing and my wife, what we're doing in Pendleton County. So 22 years, Navy veteran, 17 of which was in Naval Special Operations. And whether it was a blessing or fortunate, we had the opportunity to work in a command for 17 years that really took care of the veterans and their families. They would actually take us on retreats because they recognized the importance of family. And that if the family was secure and everyone was in good shape, then I could go out forward, do my job, and not have to worry about my family back home. They, in the meantime, could have an understanding of what I was doing and support me a little bit better as well. So that was an interesting concept that worked very well, but that's not something that happens in the big military world. So as I got closer to retirement, I wanted to give back to my brothers and sisters, especially since I was able to come back home, and so many did not. So we decided that once I retired, we would move back to West Virginia, live in the family home, and start up a retreat home. And it's a simple concept. Our mission, allowing those combat vets to reconnect with their family, is things like eating dinner at a dining room table, spending time playing games at a table, just going outside and throwing a baseball, sitting around a bonfire and being able to just talk. We utilized outdoor recreational therapy, which is huge in this state, but also where we live, just 30 miles from the Greenback Observatory, we're in a quiet zone, so our cell phones really don't even work unless you're in the house on Wi-Fi. So um, that can be a hindrance, but at the same time, it's the same reason why it works so well for us in Pendleton County, because you have to disconnect to reconnect. And so one of our first families that came out, we have a garden. We grow a lot of the food that we feed these families as well. And those stays will range from a week to 4 days. And this family wanted to go on a hike, but we told them we had to tend to the garden first. They had never been in a garden, and they came out and helped and spent the whole day. Had no idea what they were doing, but they thought it was interesting that they were eating this food too. And then we taught them how to can. And 4 years now, this family sends us pictures. They are gardening, they are canning their own vegetables. They are living not quite off the grid, but they're slowly transitioning into that because it is a big step. But that was our first success story, and we realized that you don't have to go to the Disney worlds to take your family and enjoy quiet time. A simple getting in the garden and learning how to do something and doing it together as a family is huge. And then we took it to the next level, and that was our harvest to home. And then our next one was tap to taste. We started off with 10 taps and maple trees. We have 135 acres, and those 10 taps grew to 120, grew to 300, grew to 600. And now we're not sure how much further we're going to go. We want to stay focused on the mission, because those families, last year we had 7 families from December through March come out and help either prepare lines, tap trees, collect the sap, make maple syrup. We have those families design their own labels, put it on that bottle, and they can take their syrup home with them as well. And it didn't take us long to figure out that this could also help us be self-sustainable, because we do fundraising, because we are a nonprofit. And my wife is from South Louisiana and I'm from West Virginia. So that's the mountain Cajun getaway part. So we do fundraising in Louisiana because we're trying to merge these two cultures, very similar, except terrain. But we have a lot of veterans and their families from Louisiana come up to West Virginia. And in the same time, we're taking the culture of West Virginia and merging it into Louisiana. And we just recently got back from a seminar with the Department of Ag down there, talking about the 2 different types of sugars, sugar cane and maple syrup. And we're doing some work down there with their Department of Ag and trying to infuse the two, but recognizing the importance of agricultural therapy for veterans and their families. And so that is the wave tops of what we do at Mountain Cajun Getaway. And it's not a selfish thing, but I tell you, every family that comes out benefits my wife and I as well, because our family continues to grow, and we learn so much from so many people. And it really balances itself out. When a family leaves, we generally will sit down and do an after action report. And I am 100% military all the way through with all my terminology with my wife. But we do after action reports. We sit down, we discuss, and we always come up with the same thing, like how that just benefited us, and how it benefits the other families. We're not sure until we either talk to other family members of theirs or they call us up and say, when can we come back again? And that's when we know that we touched a nerve somewhere, and we are being successful because that family just did something they've never done before, whether it was sit around and eat dinner at a table or play games with their children or just go on a hike and be able to talk. So that's our success story in a nutshell.
Thanks, Chris. Just a couple questions. Um, I know you've talked a lot. I mean, I've had a lot of experience with you guys, and I know how it affects the families. But can you talk a little bit about how just being in the woods and gathering sap and making maple has affected you, and how just being out there?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So for me, one of my issues, I don't do well with crowds, and I don't do well with crowds that are not of like minds of me, like-minded of me. So when I go out into the woods for the maple, I'm generally out there for 4 or 5 hours a day, and that is such a huge stress relief for me because with I think I did something like 12 or 13 um, tours, and I would call home sometimes, and I just want to listen to the birds. And if the phone would allow me to smell the air, I would have put my nose to the phone as well. But so when I still have those memories, and there's still times where I miss the guys that I work with so much that even though my wife is there and my boys are not far away, I still have some withdrawals. And going into the woods and messing with the maple lines and tweaking little things, and talking to myself and the trees. I talked to the trees. Actually, this year, my son, we had a rough winter, lost about 6 trees, and we had to go up several times and cut trees, clear lines. And man, he was like, "Are you talking to that tree?" And I was like, "Yes, I am talking to that tree because I knew this tree. This tree and I have a bond." I'm like, "This tree over here, this tree was a pain in the butt because it always gave me issues." And so I'm kind of glad it fell down. But the other ones, it was quite the experience. But he just recently got out of the military too, and he actually got to see me talking to trees. And afterwards, I was like, "Are you gonna call the doctor on me?" He's like, "No, actually, I think I'm gonna start talking to trees as well because I see a difference out here versus sometimes when you're in a public environment." And I was like, "This is where I'm most comfortable." And it just helps me so much to go out there or go in the garden. And so when we have those veteran families out here, just take them to these places, and sometimes it's magical. I can see the birds lift off their shoulders right away. You can just see the tension evaporate into the air as they start to smile and talk about things that they would have never talked about. "Oh, is that a mushroom?" Those little things, like, wow, look at that. They're already in their own little environment here, and we're just walking in the woods. So for me, it's huge to get out and work with nature. And knowing that I'm doing this because I want to help other people just drives me even more because I want to figure out more stuff and figure out how this works so that I can share it. I get so excited when I can take people up in the woods and show them something. And then when they respond with they're interested in how cool that is, and maybe they don't have the opportunity to do maple, maybe they're from the big city, but you know what? There's a park that you can go to and you can walk and talk to the trees in the park. You can bird watch in the park. You can dig around the leaves and look for mushrooms. There's all kinds of things you can do in what little space you have or wherever you're at in the world. So it's just really gratifying to know that agriculture is has that much power in therapy. It's incredible.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and keep to the maple theme for now, and I'm going to move on to my next Chris Marsh. You go ahead and introduce yourself and let us know a little bit about your operation, and then how your farming has affected you.
Hello, my name's Christopher Marsh, and I'm with Country Roads Life Maple. And how I actually got started in it was a conversation with an older gentleman after church one day, and um, I asked him what he'd done the day before, and he said they'd made maple syrup, and I was like, "Where at?" And he said, "Well, here." And I didn't even know it was able to be made in West Virginia. I'd grown up eating just regular pancake syrup, but the so I went home, I read some on it, and thought, well, I want to try and do this. So I started out with just tapping a few trees and some buckets that I actually bought from a local bakery. and then made a few quarts of syrup that year, and then just kind of grew from there. I'm looking to expand to next year. I'll be around 1,200 plus taps, and probably look to top out somewhere around 2,500 to 3,000 taps, which is actually in the maple world is very small production. When you get up into New England and Canada, you get into the hundreds of thousands of taps. But the um, I I'd spent 15 years in the military. I was in the United States Army and was deployed to the Middle East and stuff. And what I noticed is when I was a uh, younger adult, I went to a lot of like Chris said. I noticed as I've gotten older and after I came back that my uh, ability to be in large crowds and around a lot of people had sort of suffered. And I before that I'd went to football games, went to major sporting events, concerts and whatnot, and I'd kind of stepped back from all those. And then even with my employment, there's certain areas of my employment where I can work and isolate and go to areas where it's just me by myself, and just my connection with my family wasn't quite what it used to be, and my connection with people. Um, I ultimately I suffered from some depression from those aspects of it, and some of my physical upkeep on myself had fallen to the wayside, and I'd gained weight and other things. So as I grew into the maple uh, world, I found that for the physical aspect of it, during maple season, I'm constantly out in the woods. You're essentially like Chris was saying, our terrain here in West Virginia, it's a lot of up and down the hill to work. So I'd noticed that I would lose weight every year during that time period, and I'd also started to sort of self medicate through the use of alcohol, which is not good at all. But what I noticed is I didn't like to feel uh, hungover or whatever if I had to get up and go into the woods and do that stuff the next day. So during that time period during Maple, I noticed it would lessen my drinking, it would improve my physical fitness. And then also the time in the sugar house when I would boil the sap and uh, make it into syrup. My family would come around, my friends would start to come around, and I sort of got into that reconnection with my family and my friends. And um, plus, like Chris said, like my time in the woods gave me time for self reflection, kind of a quiet time by myself. Um, and then I've met other people in the maple industry, and I've made some really good friends through uh, my entrance into maple syrup in West Virginia, and it's really helped me. I actually don't drink alcohol anymore. I've completely quit. I haven't had any type of alcohol for a number of years now, and uh, one of the things that helped to get me into that was being out in the woods and working, having that time of self reflection and time with my family. But uh, yeah, I've um, that's about it.
Gotcha. That's amazing. No, and you just had a baby recently, a year ago?
Yes. I have a daughter who is she turned a year old March 27th. So
Awesome.
yes.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Um, okay, I can't see. how many people we have, if there's anybody down there, because normally we ask for questions at the end. But I forgot to say at the beginning, if there are questions, you can put them in the Q&A down at the bottom, and then we'll get to those. We'll make sure we get your questions. And then we'll move on to Eric. Eric Grandin, go ahead and introduce yourself. Tell us a little about your operation and how your practices and how farming has affected you.
Okay, I'm gonna flip here real quick. There we go. My name's Eric Grandin. I'm the owner operator of Sugar Bottom Farms. We're a small but ever growing honey farm in central West Virginia, Clay County. And I got out of the military. I retired in '05, and I did 6 tours altogether. Uh, and I became a therapist, and I had a bad flashback while I was in the hospital as a patient. And they fired me, of course, as the same hospital I worked in as a therapist. So I basically wandered my property for 2 years, wondering what I was going to do for the rest of my life. And I met a very good friend of mine. His name's James McCormick. He's a Silver Star recipient, 3 Bronze Stars with Valor, 3 Purple Hearts. And the day we met, we were like brothers. I was on a small team during Desert Storm, and that's where my PTSD stems from. So he told me about agriculture. So I thought I'd give it a whirl, because basically I wasn't doing anything else other than thinking about suicide. So I grew a crop of sorghum for the Calhoun County Molasses Festival, which failed miserably. Um, I'd never even raised a garden before starting farming. So it's not like you need any experience. I am the very first member in the Department of Ag's Veterans and Warriors to Agriculture. The first, that's what it was before we started branching out to first responders and people like that. Um, but they figured if I could graduate, anybody could. So basically, we started as a small commercial vegetable farm. We grew farm to school. And from there, we just kept growing year after year. And I got 2 hives to start pollinating my garden. And from those 2 hives, I turned it into 115. And I started selling bees and selling equipment. And so we did that for 2 years. We opened the bee business in 2017, and it just exploded here in Central West Virginia. If anybody is interested, now is the perfect time to be. I mean, if you want to start a business, that would be the one to go into. There's nobody within 100 miles, I don't think, that is actually doing it right now. So that's what happened to me. Uh, but the thing was with the bees, when the first time I actually opened the hive, I heard that noise, and all the noise shut up. That was pretty special. So I told my wife, I said, if this can happen to me, it can happen to others. So I basically tried to share it with as many people as possible. And we have grown significantly every year, uh, just because I have such a passion now for the honeybee. And it's amazing the things it's taken. I mean, the places it's taken me. I've interviewed with BBC in London, 4 documentaries. I just got published in a book this past year, all because I can grow lettuce, I guess. But the honeybees they've been a lifesaver to me and for others. And I tell anybody who wants to come by to just try it out. But I've kind of just engulfed myself with them. Uh, and that's helped quite a bit. Sorry, I'm so emotional. But right now we're in like 18 different markets. Uh, we sell all over the country through our e-commerce site, and we've actually made it a great business. But I still do training. I tell anyone who wants to come, I'll actually put them in the gear and get in the bees with them and train them up. They'll be a beekeeper within 2 hours, or your money back, and it's absolutely free. But it just there's always something out there for everyone. And I guess the three of us, we've been very lucky to have found ours. And the bad thing is timing. In order to grow your business, you got to have customers. And when we started selling honey, COVID hit. So that basically shut us down. We were selling in a DC farmers market at the time, a very high end market. And we had to basically revamp the entire company to accommodate, locally owned, locally grown. So we're homegrown by heroes through the Farmer Veterans Coalition. We're West Virginia grown through the Department of Agriculture. And those things are important to our customers. So, but first and foremost, the bees are just amazing. And I would ask anyone that wanted to try to just give me a call, and I'd be happy to take them through the bees and just give you a little bit of the experience. Okay.
Eric, are you ready for us to share your video?
Yes, ma'am. The honeybee colony, the perfect society. I see in the colony as I seen in the military, to see them work. Like a soldier.
Not on this one.
Nope.
Nope. It's not on there. Yeah, you can barely see it.
Gosh, that brings back memories. Back in the day, he was in the Special Forces too, Green Beret.
You had such a pink.
And I had pink eye. I joined the Army when I was 19. They used to call me Sergeant Rock.
As an active duty soldier, you have a purpose. And I think he kind of lost that somewhere along the path.
Ooh, can I?
Gosh, Mommy's young. Yes, she was 15.
No wonder. She looks so young.
Oh, well, look at me. I look young.
Yeah.
Experiences mold us and make us who we are. And his experiences were just a lot different than most people.
I did 2 combat tours. First was Desert Storm. Second was Operation Iraqi Freedom.
Oops, sorry, technical difficulty on my end. Hang on one second.
Can't see the video.
Eric, you don't see it?
No, ma'am. We were interrogators, basically. I was told to clear a bunker. There was a family there. They were just trying to hide. In that psychological hardening, it's there so you'll forget. But when I had my flashback, I cracked wide open. My flashback. It seems like everybody that I'd injured, killed, harmed in any way, they were all standing in line, dressed in white, and the line never ended. You know, PTSD is all about memories. I was convinced that I was a murderer. But when I started farming, wow. Been trained to kill my entire life, and I gave life to a plant. And then the bees, oh God. You talk about lifesavers. The memories, the noise. I hear that buzz. They take that anxiety away. It's a trance. The bees have taught me so much. Stress relief, anger management, get along with your neighbor. Stress relief. It's like, I guess, walking through a door and you're sick on one side and you're completely healed on the other. For the first time in a long time, I was normal again.
Once he realized the benefits to himself,
Sorry, we're experiencing a little bit of streaming issues on the video. Let me see if I can get it to load a little more.
he said, I want to help other people.
Yeah.
I want to bring veterans here.
Great.
I may have been done with the military, but the military sure wasn't done with me. When you leave the service, you don't really take care of yourself properly because you've become so accustomed to taking care of your duties and taking care of your soldiers. And somehow the bees help you to remember that you need to take care of yourself.
You just want to...
I love that sound.
Every veteran I helped, they could have saved my life. And maybe did, and I didn't know it.
A little better.
So I owe it to them.
Look at the different colors.
Yeah.
So those are different flowers.
Wow, they've really been working on this one.
Yeah.
Hey,
How are you?
good.
This is Leslie. Y'all haven't met yet, have you?
No.
Daniel's a Desert Storm vet. Leslie actually served in Iraq with my youngest brother. Yeah, they came from different units and they worked in the same areas. Smoke them again just to protect the bees.
Yeah, she's not coming out.
Yeah.
She's pretty happy there. Wow, this one's really full.
Yeah, and it's getting ready to pop too.
Oh, wow.
They're just amazing, the things they can do for the mental health of anyone.
I mean, you could just got the worst news in the world, and when you're in that hive, it just takes it all.
Gone. I mean, it's amazing. It's just gone.
Every day gets harder and harder. No one has to live that life. When you see the moon bragging, you know the sun is rising.
You know, the whole time I was in the military, I never once trained for peacetime. But then I found peace. I used to take a 5-gallon bucket and sit beside the hive and just watch them. Watch the queen lay eggs. Watch a baby being born. You know, it's that miracle. I've seen that 1,000-pound weight lifted off someone's chest, you know, for the first time their entire life. It's an amazing thing. That's it. I just want to help somebody. They deserve it, like I did.
You're muted, Heather.
Thank you. Ouch. Sorry, guys. Thank you so much for sharing that, Eric. That was amazing.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a really compelling story. All of your stories are very, very compelling. I had mentioned before we started that I got my first bees from Eric, but the reason I got into beekeeping was I had read an article written by a veteran years ago. And when he talked about being in the hives and how it quieted the noise, that was one of the main reasons when I was just like, I want to do this. And then when I went to get bees, Eric, you talked about it a lot, experience, and it was just very, it was just really interesting because the first time, even I never had a fear, you know, like dumping them in the nuke in or anything, but it's
Right.
just, you know, you learn to move with them and quiet, and it does, it really stills the all the noise that's in there.
Mindfulness. That's what it is. It's mindfulness. You put yourself right there at the right time, you know. And the amazing thing is, you know, they used beekeeping in right after World War One for those that suffered shell shock, and you know, it helped back then. And now, you know, there's actually 8 VA medical centers that have farms on them right now. Huntington being one of them. And I did some politicking back early on, had a congressional summit in my high tunnel, had the Pentagon here, and just to show them, you know, how agrotherapy is just an amazing alternative. And so I was teaching at Huntington VA Medical Center, and a group came down to inspect, and they'd actually said that, you know, I'd been instrumental in getting these farms put on these VA hospital grounds. They have 8 hives down in Huntington, right there on the grounds, and it's amazing. Uh, yeah, for the longest time, you know, I couldn't even talk to my family. But in 2017, I was able to testify before Congress. So it's amazing. It's amazing what, you know, this and the woods, you know. I spend a lot of time in the woods myself looking for flowers and looking at the blooms of trees. Right now, you know, it's just the perfect time. Everything's starting to bloom, and the flow's beginning here in West Virginia, and things are exciting here on Sugar Bottom Farm.
Thank you so much. Chris Grimes, are you still with us?
I am.
I was curious. I know initially when you first started having retreats, I think that were you working with an organization then? Did you have someone who came in to talk to your folks or to do any kind of meditation or anything with your folks, or was that just something you did on your own?
Something that we did on our own.
Okay. I was curious because I know that eventually you do some. I know that you do cold plunge and things like that, but a lot of your therapy is just from farming and being out in nature, correct?
Yes. And we're trying to incorporate now more some hydrotherapy as well. And we're looking into expanding into that for people that really need to do low impact things. So we're looking at like almost like exercise pool, but small lap pool. Like it's only 6.5 feet wide by 10 feet long. So we're looking into expanding into something like that because high impact stuff is not necessarily the best thing for everyone. So we're looking at doing some of that as well.
Sure. Awesome. All right. Well, so I'm gonna go ahead and open it up for questions. If we have any, I think there's a couple people on. If you have questions, you can put it in the Q&A at the bottom of the screen. And we'll give a couple minutes to see if there's anything. When we publish this, I will put your contact info, your farm name and contact information. If you want to talk a little bit about, if you want to go through and let people know how they can reach out, if they are looking for mentorship, or if they're wanting to come to a retreat or get in touch with you.
Well, our farm's always open. You can reach me on my cell phone at area code 304-545-4608 or info at SBF, as in Sugar Bottom Farm, honey.com. So those two ways you can get in contact with me. I'd be happy to take you through the hive and just whether you want to just start beekeeping or, if you can use this as a therapeutic approach, we'll do what we have to do here. So we're always open 24/7. It's not only we don't know, not only, beekeeping, but we have experience, like I say, in farm to school, vegetable farming and stuff like that. And I'm very good friends with the USDA. I think that's very important to have them on your side when you started in anything in agriculture. I'm a county committee member for Clay County for the Farm Service Agency. So that's the first place you want to reach out if you want to get started in the farming. So, or you can, I guess that's about it. Thank you.
Chris Grimes, do you want to list your email or what's the best way to get in touch with you at Mountain Cajun?
Our email is mcgwvla@gmail.com. That's mcgwvla@gmail.com. Our phone number is 304-567-3553. And our webpage is Mountain Cajun Getaway. That's all one word, mountaincajungetaway.org. And we have contact through the webpage as well.
Awesome. Thank you. Chris Marsh, do you have a website or do you want to give your email?
I haven't built a website yet. When I do, I've already bought the domain name. It's countryroadslife.com. And it encompasses a couple different things, but primarily the reason for that is I say country roads life. It's kind of I grew up on a country road. I currently live on a country road. I feel that living in West Virginia and in the country is sort of a lifestyle in and to itself, which sort of embraces everything we're talking about here, which is self-sustainability, self-reliance, being one with nature and using that inner reflection to help yourself and to help others. My email is countryroadsmaple@gmail.com, and my phone number information will be 304-695-0570. Texting is the best. That is the one downside to country roads, is that you don't always have the best cell service. So, but
Awesome. All right. Sarah, is there any questions? I don't see any in the Q&A.
oh, I did want to mention Eric with Sugar Bottom and said unfortunately Maple has a seasonal time, and it's over. We do have open houses during Maple season, primarily middle of January to the middle of March, and you can also find my information on the West Virginia Maple Syrup Producers Association page, which will show you. It's got an interactive map on there that shows you my location or the location of any producers throughout the state. If that's something that somebody would be interested in learning more about, and it doesn't require, people think you have to have thousands of taps and thousands of dollars in equipment, and it doesn't. The ability to make maple syrup and have this time with your family and this time in the woods is much more accessible than what people realize. So
Absolutely. Awesome. Thank you so much. All right. Well, thank you, everybody. If we don't have any questions out there, then I think we'll wrap it up. I appreciate you showing up tonight and sharing your experiences and sharing with us. Thank you so much, everybody.
you.
Have a good evening.
thank you for the
Thank you, Heather.
opportunity. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Eric. It was very nice to meet you all.
You too, brother.
Absolutely, guys. Hey, well, let's just keep rocking it. There's plenty of veterans out there with small farms.
Yeah, I'm going to
doing
try, and after this, I'm going to try and make contact with both of you all. So
Okay.
Eric especially isn't far from me.
Oh, where are you at? Where are you located?
I live in Gilmer County.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah. And I've actually a friend of mine that I know through the VA. He's actually a provider, but he works for the VA. He was at the Cajun Mountain Getaway.
Okay.
Chris. So I've spoke with him about that. I'd like the chance to make it over there to see you all sometime as well.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
me too.
Everybody has their cats.
Yeah.
I hope yours is nicer.
Well, they get into they're mischievous is how I would put it.
Yeah, they're pretty awesome.
Yeah. Animals are a great outlet as well.
Yeah, I have a therapy dog who didn't graduate, so
Yeah.
Right. Thanks, guys. Have a good
all
night.
right. Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much,
Thank you,
Heather.
Have a good night. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye.